Welcome everyone to the channel. My name is Jake and I am so glad that you're able to join me. Now today we're going to be talking about how you can discover and develop your gifts and superpowers and really step into who it is that you want to be and are meant to be more authentically, but really how you rediscover yourself in doing that without neglecting your family along the way. I mean, can we just talk real for a second? Because I know that if you are a parent who is feeling like somehow you've gone missing in the process of, I don't know, dealing with everyone else's stuff, keeping everything in order, raising everyone else. Like if you feel like you've lost yourself in that process, well, you're not alone. Like maybe you've spent so much time meeting everyone else's needs that you can't remember the last time that you asked yourself, like, what do you need? You know, maybe your days are filled with checklists or carpool lines or, you know, somewhere along the way, the part of you that used to feel really alive just kind of disappeared. And now you're looking in the mirror and you think like, man, I used to be something else too. Like, didn't I used to be there? Like, truthfully, I understand. I get it. Like, I've been there. Like, there was a point where I was, like, so deep in doing the day-to-day, like, and gosh, this is so true for parents, but, like, all the concepts here are going to be very true for also if you're an entrepreneur feeling out of touch, you know, like, you've lost your purpose. If you are an employee working for a company, clocking in and out, grinding away, like, I've been there myself, so I get it. Like, I was trying to always grind away, just keep hustling, you know, trying to be a present parent as much as I could and be a provider and a great spouse, like the steady one. And I was so focused on that I completely lost the thread of who I was. You know, I thought what made me a better, like that's what made me a better parent was I was just so invested in being a part of that. Like until I realized I was teaching my kids that adulthood kind of meant self-abandonment. And I started to realize, like, I looked in the mirror and I didn't recognize who I was. And I was making decisions that just didn't make sense to me. Like, and you know, I want to make sure that as I'm raising my kids, that they see that they can be whoever they want to be and they want to live authentically and make a greater impact. And I'm sure that you want your children to do the same. Now, this type of stuff, it hit me really hard. But the thing I wish someone had told me a lot sooner was that rediscovering yourself doesn't take away from the time with your family, with your kids, with your spouse. It actually gives them more of a real version of you, which is going to leave way more core memories and connection along the way. Now, my name is Jake Talbert. I'm the founder and author of this book. It is called The Giver Method, and I want to walk you through, you know, some of the things that go along within the Giver Method. I actually call this the Parent's Comeback Guide. You know, it's not about going backwards, you know, to who you were before your kids. It's about bringing forward the parts that mattered the most, even, you know, in the middle of real life and busy parenting. Now, everything comes to you like straight from within what's inside the Giver Method. So I highly recommend you go to Amazon, grab yourself a copy. It's been out since November. It has tons of 5-star reviews. It's been helping thousands of people to discover their gifts and superpowers, create more influence in their lives, create more value, improve relationships, live a more fulfilled life. Oh my gosh, the list goes on and on of what that could be. So you can go to Amazon, look up The Giver Method by Jake Talbert, or I'll put a link in the description so that you can go get it. Now, at the same time, if you've got a podcast or you've got a stage or a community of people who, as you listen to this message, you're like, man, they need to hear this too, then down there in the description, I'll include a link to where you can go to thegivermethod.com, where we can connect. Like, I want to talk about what that could look like, because I would love to support your audience with something that really matters. And as I get on stage and I talk to people, or as I have people buy the book, like I tell people all the time, like, I don't make anything off people buying the book. So you buying it, it's not like I'm like, oh, buy it so I can make money. I don't make money on the book. Quite honestly, I want it to make an impact in your life as much as humanly possible. And then if I can get on stage for people, if I can make that impact, I would love to do so. Now, today's video is not a 5-hour of theory or anything like that. It's just 5 really simple and practical, like doable exercises that fit in the cracks of everyday life that'll help you start showing up not just as a parent, but as a whole person, authentic person again. Now, if that's something you've been craving, then go ahead, hit subscribe, ring the bell for notification, because I drop new videos all week long, and I would love for you to, you know, be able to watch them and find the ways to reconnect with yourself, reconnect with your gifts and superpowers, reignite your purpose, and live a life that fuels you and your family. You can also, down in the description, find all the places we are on social media, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, as well as, like I said, free resources we have at thegivermethod.com. So let's dive into these exercises and how they're really going to start to help you, okay? The first one, I call it the parent identity inventory. So something that happens to more parents than, like, you may realize is we slowly start to forget who we are outside of being like mom and dad. You know, and look, I get it. the early parenting years, like they're going to eat you alive if you're not careful. I get it. I've got 3 boys myself. Between the midnight wake ups, the endless to-do list, the emotional whiplash, of keeping everyone fed and safe and hopefully relatively sane, you don't even notice it happening. You skip like a hobby that you used to do so you can handle the sick kid, like, right? We've been there. Then you skip another because you're too tired. And then suddenly you can't remember the last time you did something that just was something you enjoyed doing. What we're really talking about is like is identity infusion. When parenting role doesn't shape your life, it becomes your life, right? And if that's where you are right now, then I want you to hear this. Like, being a parent is something you do, not who you are. The role is sacred, no question about that. I believe that, but it's not supposed to erase your identity or your name or who you are authentically. So how do we get that back to the person that's underneath the role of being a parent? That's why we've got this parent identity inventory exercise that you can do. It's really simple. Grab a notebook, open up an notes app on your phone, whatever it is, and answer 3 questions, okay? Number 1, before I became a parent, I felt most like myself when fill in the blank. If no one called me mom or dad, how would I describe myself? Fill in those blanks. And what parts of me have gone quiet since I became a parent? These questions, like, they're not meant to make you feel bad in any way. They just remind you of those parts of you that didn't vanish. Like, they've just been waiting for you to check back in and start using them. Now, next, quick identity snapshot. Like, list 5 adjectives that describe you before you had kids. Like, and then list 5 that describe you now. Now, are you still curious? Are you still creative? Are you still funny, spontaneous, or driven? Like, notice what's stayed and notice what's faded. Now, here's the really fun part. Draw a simple circle, and like, let's say that's you. That's a whole version of you, that circle, that, pie chart or whatever. Inside, like, draw a section labeled parent, and it might be the biggest slice right now, and that's okay, but leave space for the other parts too. The artist, the friend, the adventurer, the writer, the builder, the dreamer, whatever else makes you you. And then put the identity map somewhere where you can see it, on a mirror, maybe your planner, maybe some sort of visual reminder that says like, hey, you still exist, and how can I start to maybe expand the parts of the pie that are make me, right? So this matters so much because if you don't name the difference between parenting role, like if you don't discover that and say, okay, well, this me is the parent and this me is my core self, like you'll never fully reclaim the parts of you that felt lost. You're going to keep waiting until your kids get older or the house is calmer or magically that you're going to find the time. Like, but let's be real, that day is never going to come. When you see yourself as more than a parent, you show up differently, not just for you, but for your entire family. Because when your kids watch you live as a whole person, not just a caretaker, they learn wholeness, what wholeness looks like to them. It isn't about pushing parenting aside, it's about making room for the rest of you to breathe again, and the parent identity inventory does that for you. It's the first step. Now, the second exercise that I like to put out there is this forgotten passions reconnection, which kind of plays along similar with some of the stuff we just talked about. Like, when was the last time you did something that, like, you just because you loved doing it, not because it was good for the kids, but because it was, or not because it was efficient or productive. It just made you feel like you. It just filled you up with energy. If you're like most parents, it's probably been a while and you're not alone. Like, there are a bunch of studies out there that say that 65% of parents have completely shelved activities that they used to love. Not because they stopped caring, but because life got full and loud and tired. And let's be real, most of us started believing that our passions had to take a back seat to being a good parent. But here's the truth behind all of it. The things that you used to love, they didn't vanish. They haven't gone away in any way. They're just buried under the permission slips, soccer practice, and relentless soundtrack of mom, can you? Hey, dad, I need. The forgotten passions reconnection is all about gently digging them back out. So, because this isn't just about hobbies, it's about your energy and your joy, your flow, the fulfillment, the kind of moments that light up your brain and refill your tank. They remind you that there's more to you than the carpool schedule or lunches, school lunches or whatever that may be. So let's make it practical. The first thing, take just 10 minutes. I know it's not in a parent's life that might feel like a lot, but just take 10 minutes and create something what's my passion timeline? Just sit down with a pen and paper and write out what did I love doing before I had kids? What made me feel alive? What do I lose hours doing without even noticing the time? And what were things that you talked about with friends just because they lit you up? And don't worry about if it's realistic right now. This isn't a to-do list, it's just a reconnection map. You're looking over this list to determine which one or two still give you that little flicker of excitement just by reading them. And you're going to circle those. And then the most important part of that is like, just choose one thing. Don't go crazy, and ask yourself, like, how can I maybe spend 3 minutes or 5 minutes with this passion this week? That's it. 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. That's all. Like, if you used to love reading, like, crack open the book and read one page aloud before bed. If it's music was your thing, then play your favorite song on your next drive and just listen to it. If you love to write, then open the notes app and type out a single paragraph of an idea that's been rattling around. Maybe it's painting that brought you joy. Like, grab the sketchbook put on the coffee maker, grab a drink, and start to doodle while it brews. Like, just whatever it is, start small, start tiny, even like no matter how big it is, because this isn't about getting back to the old life or completely changing over your life and doing all these big things. Like, it's about carrying forward the parts of you that still belong there. Now, here's what you'll probably notice is after those 5 minutes, you're going to feel different. You're going to feel lighter. Maybe you feel a little bit more like you. And surprisingly, energy flows right back into your family as you do that, as you feel that way. You become more patient, more present, more grounded, and not because you escaped your kids, but because you just remembered yourself and it filled you up. That's where the real shift is going to happen. We've been sold this myth that pursuing passion takes something away from our family. But I found personally that every parent that I've walked through this, it actually adds something. It adds more warmth and curiosity and life, and it reminds your kids what joy looks like in real time. So pick one passion, take 5 minutes, put it on the calendar, and pay attention to how you feel after it, because this isn't selfish, it's really strategic and sustainable, and it's the beginning of what your comeback could be. You don't have to go back to who you were before you had kids, but you absolutely deserve to carry the most alive parts of it, with you, who you are now. Don't bury your joy. Bring it back one tiny reconnection at a time, and you're going to be amazed how much it lights you up and it impacts your family. Now, the third one is about gift integration, which every time I say gift, I also want you to think superpower, because in the giver method, the G of giver stands for gift, which is about your gifts and your superpowers, those things that are so uniquely you. So something most parents overlooked is that your gifts don't disappear when you become a parent. They just change the way they show up. The thing is, most of us just never stop to look for them, right? We get so caught up in trying to be the kind of parent that we think that we should be. We miss that we're how we're already showing up and how we could show up with our strengths that are uniquely ours. Now, this exercise is about reclaiming that. It's about recognizing that, okay, I've got these natural strengths. The stuff that I use at work, in friendships, in past passions, not necessarily separate from parenting in any way. These are your superpowers. When you bring them into your home on purpose, with intention, with the right influence, everything will shift. So research shows that parents who intentionally use their personal strengths in parenting, they report that there's 52% more confidence in their home, 61% more meaningful family moments, those connections, those core memories, not by doing more, but by just doing what they're already doing that they're good at on purpose, being intentional. So instead of feeling like you have to be a parent like someone else sees, like you see on Instagram or anything, you follow you don't have to follow the latest this is the way advice to be a good parent. No, you just be the version of you that your kids need by utilizing your gifts and superpowers. So number one, there's some steps to this. Number one, spot your strengths. The transferable superpowers is what you're looking for. Ask your questions what do people compliment me on? What's something that just comes naturally to me but seems hard for other people? What kind of things give me energy instead of draining me? You might realize your strengths are things like, empathy, humor, creativity, organization, storytelling, problem solving, even maybe calmness under pressure. Whatever it is, don't overthink it. It doesn't have to be flashy. They just have to be true to who you are. And then the second step there is notice where they are already showing up. With each of those gifts, ask yourself, where am I using this in my parenting without even realizing it? Am I more empathetic, maybe? You're the one who always knows when the kid needs that quiet moment instead of a pep talk. If you're organized, maybe you already created a routine that helps everyone breathe easier. If humor is your thing, right? Then maybe you just naturally diffuse the tantrums with a silly and goofy voice. The point isn't to add more, it's to realize man, I've already been showing up with my gifts all along. You just haven't been giving it the right credit. And then the third thing is to then okay, look at the cross-pollination of those superpowers. Where this gets starts to really get fun is that you pick one parenting challenge you're facing right now. Maybe it's the morning chaos. Maybe it's homework, when homework turns into meltdowns. Maybe it's bedtime feels like that hostage negotiation. Then ask yourself, like, well, how could I bring my gifts into this challenge in a way that makes it feel like me? Whatever that is, the goal is not to fix the problem. It's just to bring more of you into it. That's where parenting gets lighter. That's, it's not easier all the time, but it is lighter because it flows with just naturally who you are, not who you're trying to copy or trying to be or who you think you should be. So many parents secretly feel like they're doing it wrong, like they have to squeeze themselves into this mold of being the good parent. But the truth is, you don't need to become someone like the version of someone else to raise great kids. You just need to become more of yourself on purpose. And gift integration, it flips that for you from parenting is from where sometimes parenting will feel draining, it flips it to parenting is another place that I can show up fully. And the bonus is that your kids see you using your gifts, they learn how to use theirs. Not just, it's not just parenting anymore. You are modeling what it looks like to live in alignment and leaving that sort of a powerful legacy. So identify what your strengths are. Notice how they're already showing up in your day-to-day parenting, and then choose one challenge this week and ask yourself, how could I solve it using my superpowers? You're going to be amazed how that shifts, how your home starts to feel, and how you start to feel inside based off all that. Now, we're about halfway through. We've only got 2 more exercises left. Hopefully things are going great. Feel free, once again, leave comments along the way if there was anything that's jumped out to you so far. Now, the 4th exercise is modeling purpose. Letting your kids see you living what you preach, because something that doesn't get talked about enough, your kids are not just listening to what you say, they're watching how you live, all of it. This is how that nurture shows up. When you say, man, I want to follow your dreams. I want you to follow your dreams, and you're quietly suffocating your own dreams. They notice. When you tell them, hey, don't give up when it gets hard, and then they see you never try anything new or hard, that registers. But, when you encourage them to be curious, creative, and passionate, but you never let them see your own creativity flow, the message hits a wall. So this is about switching that, so modeling purpose. It's not about being perfect. It's about just being visible. It's about letting your kids see that you are more than their personal Uber driver, snack distributor, laundry fairy. You're a human being with purpose and interests and goals. And yes, maybe even dreams that still matter. The research that's out there, it backs us up in such a big way. Kids whose parents actively pursue their own goals are 58% more likely to develop strong confidence in their own abilities. They're 74% more likely to chase their passions. And here's the kicker: 34% of only 34% of parents model this kind of behavior, even though 82% say they want their kids to live with purpose. So there's a disconnect, right? It sends mixed signals. Kids end up thinking adulthood equals sacrifice, and that might be a good grow up. It's going to mean growing up means losing things that made them feel alive right now, because they see that what's happened with you. You don't have to you don't want that to pass on. So let's talk about how you shift it. There's a few steps you can do. So step 1, define the message that you actually want to send. Asking yourself, what do I want my kids to believe about adulthood? What do I hope that they think life after childhood looks like and feels like? What do I want them to carry into their own relationships and careers and purpose? And then flip it, what would they need to see in me? What do they need to see me doing? And that actually believe that those things are all possible. And that's where you start. That's the roadmap. And then you create these watching moments. Gosh, we're not saying you need a sabbatical or a studio space to model your purpose. You just need to make your own interests a little more visible. It could be practicing guitar for 10 minutes while your kids do some homework at the table. It could be letting them catch you work on a creative project instead of hiding it until they're asleep. Or saying out loud, hey, I'm learning Spanish right now because I've always wanted to travel. Or maybe I'm writing an article that helps me express my ideas, and I love that. The point isn't to explain everything. It's just to live it out loud. Let your kids see that you're a person still growing, still learning, still exploring, and it gives them permission to do the same. And then talk about the journey, not just the wins. The part that matters so much, purpose isn't always smooth. It's awkward, it's uncomfortable for all of us. And your kids benefit from seeing that. So they when you share the hard stuff in age appropriate ways, hey, this painting didn't turn out the way I hoped, but I'm gonna try. Like, hey, I'm nervous about this presentation, but I'm proud of how I've prepared. Or this idea might flop, but it matters to me because I want to give it a shot. Like, you're not venting, you're just modeling growth. You're showing like, hey, there's been some struggles along the way. You're showing them that purpose comes with the mistakes and the messy learning curves. And that's where it starts to build in the resilience. When your kids see you pursuing your own growth, they learn that. They're going to see that adulthood doesn't just mean the end of curiosity, that being responsible doesn't mean that you're invisible, or that purpose doesn't go away when life gets full. It just evolves. And so, they also start to treat you differently. Kids see their parents living with intention tend to have more respect, more independence, more understanding of boundaries, because now they get it. Mom and dad isn't just mine. Like, there's something, like there's someone with dreams and ideas, and that's not threatening in any sort of a way. Like, the moment, like that one moment, like that you could change things, like it will shape the way your child views adulthood for the rest of their life. Now, the fifth and final exercise is all about self-care without guilt. Like, fill your tank without feeling selfish. Because let's call it what it is. A lot of parents, especially moms, but dads too, feel guilty when they think about doing something for themselves. Not because they don't know that self-care matters, but because somewhere along the lines, the message of taking care of themselves means taking something away from their family. And that belief is quietly wrecking us. Studies show that 76% of parents feel guilty about taking personal time. But the same research also shows that parents who practice consistent self-care are 67% less likely to burn out. They show up more patient, more present, more emotionally available for their kids. So, the problem isn't that you're being selfish. It's like we've been sold a version of what's good parenting that requires us to completely disappear and to not build ourselves back up or to recharge ourselves in that way. So, let's change that. And so there's a few steps here. Number one, reframe it. You're not stealing time. You're protecting your capacity. This isn't a spa day talk. This is like the oxygen mask on the airplane principle. If you're running on fumes, like I just flew back from Hawaii with my family, and the flight attendants came up multiple times, and they're like, make sure you put your mask on before your kids. Like, you need the air in order to save your child, right? It's not, like, if you're running on any sort of fumes, like, you're going to snap at your kids, you're going to feel resentful, you're going to be zoning out, barely making it to bedtime. Like, your family's not getting the best version of you. They're getting what's left of you, and that's not sustainable. It's not what you want. Taking care of yourself isn't stealing from your family. It's serving them by showing up more grounded and present, like as more grounded and present version of yourself. So step one is internal shift. Like, okay, self-care, it's not a luxury, it's a responsibility that I need to take for myself. And then step two, you build a sustainable plan. So if you get practical with it, think about like 4 core areas that you need to keep functioning as a human. All right. Number one, there's physical. You need sleep, you need food, you need movement. Like, you need it. Those are undeniable facts. Emotional. You need joy, you need calm, and you need space and time to feel things. Which then leads to the mental. Like, there needs to be some sort of stimulation and growth and creativity. And then the fourth one is social. You need support, you need connection, and adult conversations. So pick one simple action for each of them, small and very specific and sustainable. I'm going to go on a 10-minute walk after dinner. I'm going to call a friend every Friday for lunch break. I'm going to journal 1 line per day. I'm going to watch one funny video before bed. This isn't about overhauling your life. It's about building a rhythm that has these small refill moments, like topping off your tank before you hit empty. Step 3 of this is going to be set boundaries without apologizing. Like, here's where the part that trips up a lot of people, especially when they feel that guilt creeping in. You finally carve out some time for yourself, and then someone interrupts. They need something. They make you feel bad for taking it. And that's where having some sort of a boundary script, pre-thought out, can come into play. Like, these are going to be short, clear phrases that you can practice ahead of time so that you're not caught off guard in that moment. Like, hey, I'm taking 20 minutes to recharge so I can be more present afterward. And I'm building space in my day so that I can show up well for all of us. I'm taking care of my health, and that's how I can take care of our family better. And then here's the thing. Saying it out loud isn't just good for you, but it's a powerful lesson for your kids. You're showing them that taking care of yourself is normal and necessary and allowed. Like, that's a game changer for their future too. And of course, the fourth step on that is going to be to attach self-care with what you already do. Like, don't wait until you can find the time. Like, time doesn't show up magically. Instead, you got to find the tiny cracks in your day that you can link to self-care that's already happening. So, Like find those, what are the I call them care triggers. I'm at a red light. I'm going to stop and take 3 deep breaths. The coffee's brewing. I'm going to take a few minutes. I'm just going to stretch. Right before I started this video, I literally stretched down here on the floor. During shower time, I take 5 minutes and listen to my favorite music. During the commute, I'm going to do a podcast or playlist that lifts me up. Like whatever those micro moments are, like you don't need an hour to do it. Like you just need consistency. When you ditch the guilt and start caring for yourself with intention, like it all will shift. You feel less resentful and more regulated. You stop waiting for life to slow down and feel good and start doing things. Your kids start seeing what healthy adulting actually looks like, and you stop equating self-neglect with love. You break a generational cycle that's there. You're no longer surviving the days, like you're building the capacity to live them more fully, to parent from a place of presence, not pressure. So pick one thing that you can start to do. Just take a few minutes to do it. And when you do it, notice how you feel afterwards. Like journal about it, reflect on it. Like not just physically, but emotionally. Remind yourself, like, okay, this isn't selfish. This is true leadership for my family. This is how I show up to my kids with like what well-being looks like in real time. You don't need a permission slip to care for yourself. Like if you've been waiting for a sign, like consider this the sign. Take care of yourself. Your comeback doesn't require grand gestures. Every moment of honesty, and a 5-minute pause, like that says like I matter too. Like that's gonna make such a drastic impact for you. Now, before we wrap this up, like I want to leave you something that changed everything for me once I finally believed it. Once again, reclaiming your identity isn't a detour from good parenting; it's the path to better parenting. You loving life in your gifts, your superpowers, your passions. Like it's not selfish. It's leadership. It's leaving a legacy. It's modeling in real time what it looks like to live with intention and still show up to those who you love. Like I get it. It's not easy. When I first started pulling my pieces of myself out, like from under the mountain of parenting responsibility, I felt guilty. Like I felt like I was taking away time from my family, but I was, or maybe I was making it all about me. But here's what I found: the more I came back to life, the more life I was able to bring back into my home. I showed up lit up with my passions. My kids noticed. I made space to take care of myself. They stopped seeing me as the tired machine who handled the schedules, or and started seeing me as a whole person, someone who listens, who's asking deeper questions and that they can learn from. That changed our relationship more than I ever expected. I've seen this shift so many times in others too, parents who felt like they are disappearing in the role, of a parent, and it took a few minutes twice a week. Like, parents can take maybe just a few minutes twice a week to reconnect with who they are. And it doesn't just shift their energy, it shifts their whole household. There's less resentment, there's more laughter. It builds their energy. Kids suddenly start asking, about their interests, and it's wild. Like that 5 intentional minutes can completely spark things for you. So here's what I want you to hear. Like, you don't have to overhaul your life to do this. You don't need tons of hours alone, and it doesn't need to be perfect. Just pick one step, one thing we talked about. Find the tiny moments where the comeback starts to begin, and you'll know this is working when you feel that flicker of excitement about your own interests again. When your kids notice, your kids start to notice and start to ask questions. When your energy shifts from surviving the day to showing up for it, like more of yourself and more intact. Now, if you want more tools like this, stuff that helps you to rediscover your gifts, reclaim energy, create real momentum for both your personal life and relationships, then once again, that's where you want to go down into the description, grab your copy of The Giver Method, or go to Amazon and get it. I'll put the link below, or you can get it to thegivermethod.com as a part of that. Once again, if you've got a stage, a podcast, a platform, whatever, or know someone who does, like that this message would resonate really well with, then let's talk. Let's figure out what that could look like so we can provide as much value to them and give them these ways that they can break free. Now, if this video helped you in any way, then hit the like button. Once again, subscribe. Like, we've got more coming to help you reconnect with the person who you were before parenting and the one that you're becoming because of it. Now, if maybe there's someone else in your life that needs this reminder, share it with them. I'd love for you to leave a comment. Let me know which exercise landed for you the most. I love to keep the conversation going, because your kids, they don't need a perfect parent. They just need a whole one. Someone who models purpose, joy, curiosity, and self-respect. Someone who teaches them by example. You don't have to disappear to love deeply. That kind of parent, it is already inside you, already exists. So let's bring them back and see how it's going to make such a massive impact on how you show up as a parent and how your family responds to that. With that, we'll catch you in our next video. Have a great rest of your day.